Okay, good morning, everybody. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little on the struggle bus this morning. I see Mr. C has first blood. We're gonna talk a little bit about what's going on with Elon because, whoo, buddy, let's do this. All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right, this morning we're going to be talking about Elon Musk's thermonuclear lawsuit and kind of what's leading up to it. Or what has led up to it. As I understand it currently, there is a plan to file the lawsuit, but it hasn't been filed yet. And y'all let me know in the comments if I missed something. I could be a little behind, but I've been reading up on it all morning. And for those of you who know me, when I say all morning, that's a lot of time. But let's do a little background here, because what we're talking about is major brands like Disney, Apple, IBM, etc., threatening to pull all their advertisement or pause their ad buys on Twitter, on X. I ain't gonna lie, I'm still not a fan of the whole X rebrand thing, but because it's confusing. It's been Twitter for 20 years almost. Anyway, so there's a lot of interesting here. I want y'all to think back to a few years ago when we had the what they called the Adpocolypse, which was when YouTube, most especially, began demonetizing certain conservative accounts, conservative channels. At the time, even this show, like we had just achieved monetization on YouTube, and we've never gotten it back. We were monetized on YouTube for a couple of months, and then it was gone. And frankly, that's why we have the Buy Me a Coffee link, which, you know what, I can go ahead and drop that in the link. But we do the Buy Me a Coffee link because YouTube shut down our monetization, and so it's up to you guys to help keep us going, help keep us in lager and Legos, as it were. And we appreciate those contributions. I see Jen DF. She's one. Sergeant Major's there, of course. Dad sent me some cash on, Buy Me a Coffee, and that has been helpful. Mr. C says, unfortunately, there is a price to pay when the truth is spoken. Right there, the expression "freedom isn't free" is. Most people will never clearly understand what that means. But the Adpocolypse, it really was crushing to the conservative movement. And I want to be clear on this. There have been several videos done about it. When the Adpocolypse happened, we were being told that these brands were concerned about their content, about their ads being served alongside what they call hate speech. To be clear, at the time that they were so concerned about quote unquote hate speech, the same companies continued to run their ads alongside other content such as the Cardi B song WAP, content like the what was it? There was one where two gay dudes set up, one of them laid down on the ground and they put a sheet over his waist, and the other one got behind him and he tried to guess what was being stuck in him. Right. So the companies that were so concerned about quote unquote hate speech, they can continue to serve their ads alongside that, alongside all manner of just grotesque pro-abortion content, et cetera, et cetera. They are not interested. The thing that they are not interested in is liberty, life, or the pursuit of happiness. In fact, they detest all of these things, but they continue to serve their ads alongside child pornography, alongside essentially LGBTQ recruitment material, alongside vulgar, just disgusting, vulgar media like Cardi B's WAP, that they're all about that garbage. And they will continue to be. You know, let's not forget Disney. Disney went so far down the wrong way that they actually had to pull the production on their Snow White adaptation because the actress playing Snow White turned out to be such a repugnant fourth or fifth wave feminist. You have to bear with me. I'm a little under the weather this morning. I'll try not to cough directly into the microphone, especially for you headphone wearers out there. I apologize. But the new wave comes as Disney, Apple, and IBM have paused advertising on X, and this is hilarious. So Musk threatens thermonuclear lawsuit as X ad boycott gathers pace. Elon Musk said on Saturday that he will file a thermonuclear lawsuit against nonprofit watchdog Media Matters and others, as companies including Disney, Apple, and IBM reportedly have paused advertising on X amid an anti-Semitism storm around the social media platform. Let's be very clear. The anti-Semitism, the huge quantities of anti-Semitism, I don't want to get into a whole diatribe about Palestine and Israel. Frankly, their whole problem over there is their problem, and we should not be involved at all. But the anti-Semitism over there is that Biden voters are pro-Palestine. They have been very clearly pro-Hamas, and they continue to repeat the phrase "from the river to the sea," which is the Islamic motto to describe the extermination of the Jews in Israel. Right? We went from 2020, where Donald Trump is Hitler and all Republicans are Nazis. We went from that rhetoric to today. The Democrat Party platform is "Go Holocaust." But Disney is apparently really concerned about anti-Semitism. Disney is concerned about anti-Semitism. Media Matters, a U.S. group that describes itself as a progressive research and information center that monitors media outlets for conservative misinformation, published earlier this week research showing that X has posted ads appearing next to pro-Nazi posts. I hope y'all are ready for this. The split second that court opens on Monday, Musk said in a post on X on Saturday, X Corp will be filing a thermonuclear lawsuit against Media Matters and all those who colluded in this fraudulent attack on our company. So one of the things that we've learned from the Twitter Files release when Musk bought Twitter is that groups like Media Matters have been in active collusion with the federal government, which means, we've talked about this a lot on the show before, which means that what they're engaged in is the very specific crime of the violation of civil liberties under color of law. It means that because they are funded and operated in collusion with the United States government, that they are a government agent. And any work that they engage in that involves the curtailment of individual civil liberties is a crime. And it should be considered, in my opinion, that is the worst crime that a person can commit by being an agent of the government and using that authority and the color of law to illegitimately suppress the civil liberties of U.S. citizens. I honestly abhor this activity even above actual treason. Not least because, to a great degree, it is treason, right? We are in a position where we must involuntarily trust the government to see to our interests, and consistently it fails to do so. So let's get down to this real quick. Musk, owner of Tesla and SpaceX, who bought Twitter last year and renamed it X, was already under fire for tolerating and even encouraging anti-Semitism on the social media platform. That's just horseshit. I hope he pulls them inside out over that obvious slander. The latest episode was this week when Musk endorsed an anti-Semitic post on X as the actual truth of what Jewish people were doing. The vast majority of of Jews in America, like the vast majority of Catholics, to what should be anyone's great disgust, actually vote Democrat. Now, in theory, we're talking about religious people, people whose religions, no, Siri, I did not say your name, people whose religions believe in the sanctity of life, and who vote overwhelmingly, like 80%, for the party of baby cutting. Right? I don't have a problem with Jews. I have a problem with Democrats. In theory, religious Jews and religious Catholics should be 180 degrees opposed to the entire Democrat platform, because it begins and ends with the mutilation and termination of children, the sacrifice of children on the altar of Moloch. But nope, there they are. So the White House recommended or condemned the post, recalling that the post Musk was responding to referred to a conspiracy theory that motivated the man who killed 11 people at a Pittsburgh synagogue in 2018. It's completely divorced. It's completely divorced from the factual matter there. And frankly, unintelligible. But of course, the White House is going to weigh in. Damn it, I had another article pulled up and it... What the hell? So, what is happening on the other side of it? This is fantastic. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, before I get to that. I had it pulled up. Basically, we've got the evidence that essentially what happened is somebody at Media Matters sat down and intentionally followed what some kind of super far right extremist account, and just sat there and hit refresh until they got it to serve an ad for Disney. And then of course it's the case that the ad wasn't even served with the post. It was served after the post, which is a very technical detail, but an important one for the purposes of the legal filing. So, in response, Timcast, The Benny Show, and Babylon Bee pledge X ad buys to fight cancel culture. Now, these ad buys, Babylon Bee plans to commit $250,000 in ad buys on X. Timcast and Benny Media, I don't know if y'all watch The Benny Show, but he's actually rock solid. Followed suit with a $250,000 commitment from Timcast and $50,000 from Benny Media. Now, Tim Pool did a video where he talked about this in pretty great detail, and he pointed out there's been some criticism of this, like, oh, you're just going to give a rich man more money. Like, no, they're buying advertising. Like Tim Pool pointed out, they just released a documentary on gun rights. It's a produced, polished documentary. Those are expensive. It's Lauren Southern, and there's, you're talking about the kind of documentary that involves a lot of travel and production costs that are pretty substantial. He says he spent $50,000 on the ad buy for that to promote that documentary. That's a pretty substantial ad buy itself. But Timcast, which is a free speech enterprise itself, helmed by Tim Pool, has been a vocal supporter of Elon Musk's mission to keep Twitter, now X, on social media, a social media platform dedicated to free speech and free expression. There have been some reasonable criticisms of Elon and his purchase of X, and Elon's a dude. He seems to be pretty solidly red-pilled on some important things, but you don't have to agree with everybody on everything. And Elon seems to be more, for the most part, doing right with all of this stuff with Twitter and kind of advancing the cause of free speech through Twitter, which is massively important. Let's not forget, prior to Musk's purchase of Twitter, Twitter was one of the biggest offenders in the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story, which we now know could have swayed the election, according to exit polls, by up to 17%. Right? If nothing else, you assume the 2020 election was legitimate and Joe Biden was elected. The fact of the matter is, according to the exit polling, the Hunter Biden laptop story alone, having not been suppressed and gaslit by intelligence agencies, would have been the deciding factor, which gave us a Donald Trump instead of the disaster that has been Joe Biden, right? So Elon's purchase of X has been, purchase of Twitter, he rebranded it to X, has been a godsend in that regard. Timcast is officially joining Seth Dillon and the Babylon Bee in their effort to support X and Musk's efforts. Timcast will commit $250,000 toward ad buys on X over the next few months. Benny Johnson of Benny Media joined in saying Benny Media is joining Timcast, the Babylon Bee, supporting free speech. And the Babylon Bee. So the Babylon Bee is also spending $250,000. Remember, back before Elon bought Twitter, the Babylon Bee had been removed from Twitter. They had been thrown off of Twitter. And I want to say it was over, I forget his name, but the tranny admiral that's in charge of healthcare, that was billed to all of us as the first transgender. He was called the first female, not first transgender, the first female 4-star admiral to hold the position as chief of the medical corps. Here it is. Babylon Bee announced their plans on Sunday. It was the Bee's suspension on the platform after the Christian satire site poked fun at trans Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services Dr. Rachel Levine that Musk determined to buy the platform for $44 billion. Once Musk got hold of the platform, all those who had benefited from the censorship that had been rampant on Twitter took aim at Musk, leveling accusations that he was far right and now that he's anti-Semitic. Right. So I believe the specific article that got them ganked was they They named Rachel Levine Man of the Year, Babylon Bee's Man of the Year, which, of course, is hilarious. And Jesus, can you not take a joke? I mean, you put a dude in a frock and call him the first female 4-star admiral. You have earned the deep criticism of the United States and every legitimate patriot. Because, let's back up real quick. To be clear, let me remind you, Rachel Levine never served and then magically became a 4-star admiral. Okay, this is in no way a person who earned a high military rank in any legitimate capacity. The Biden administration found a tranny and stuck the highest available military commission on it for no reason other than to make a vulgar, deranged, and perverted political statement. That's there is no more to that. Levine is one of the most offensive things I can imagine. Let's find us a figurehead of vulgarity and perversion and federally assist it engaging in stolen valor. I mean, the only thing I can think of that someone could do that's more offensive to our brave servicemen and women would be maybe if somebody were to just point at the football on live television. Biden did that 3 times. He pointed the football on television 3 times. And every time he did that, the Secret Service soldier that was holding the football, that's the briefcase with the nuclear codes in it, had to be replaced for his own protection. Because when Biden pointed at him and said, "That's the football," instantaneously every enemy intelligence service on the planet issued a fatwa or an assassination order on that guy. That just happens immediately. Or you could just come right out and say, "Oh, well, let me name the special forces unit that killed Osama bin Laden." And oh, surprise, surprise, they got targeted by an attack. I mean, you want cause for removal for an impeachment. Joe Biden should have been in prison for what he's done to our servicemen and women. He should have been in prison for that before he ever got a chance to run and steal an election. But I digress. So, the Babylon Bee has pledged $250 toward X, said Ashley St. Clair. She quoted Edmund Burke's famous phrase, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." That is a dangerous and correct phrase, and I want y'all to think about that, and I'm going to make that our takeaway. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. I want y'all to take that one with you today, and that's where we're gonna go ahead and put a pin in this show this morning. Thanks for watching this morning. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.